Hello, everybody. It's Jake Senzero, host Jake Gino podcast here with my co-host, the multifamily mentor, the coach, chef, the father, six, the best-selling author, the G-Daddy, Gino Barbo. Gino, how's it going?
Jake, I'm doing good. You didn't even, talk about my background. I changed it up a little bit for you. I want to emulate you. You're my hero, and I wanted my whole studio to look like yours today. How's it looking for me, brother?
You've been in, Italy for like the last month, and so I didn't even remember what your background looked like because it's been so long since I've seen you. So I apologize. But hey, we got a very special guest today. Today's guest is a serial entrepreneur. He's built and sold 2 online advertising startups before taking a passion pivot, flush with alliterations today, Gino, to focus on purpose-driven ventures. He co-founded Hero X, launched Enlighten.org to integrate philanthropy into business, and now leads Lifestyles Perfected, helping CEOs and teams align their lives and businesses. He also founded AlignCoach.ai. I guess we're getting away from the .coms, Gino, so we're into this whole new realm now. So without further ado, Nadav Wilf, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Great to see you guys.
Thank you. It's great to see you too. I want the folks to know, because Gino obviously forgot, before we get started here, what does Fiat stand for, Nadav?
Fix it again, Tony.
And how do you feel about that, Gino? Because we were kind of going back and forth about this.
There's some truth in that because my ancestors, the Romans, and they built architecture, literature, the Renaissance. He's talking Michelangelo. And nowadays, we can't even build the damn car. You know what I'm saying?
I think you got a Ferrari somewhere.
Ferraris, no? I mean, it's not a park.
What do you mean, yeah, but?
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's only, fix it again, Tony. I mean, that's
they got a lot of Fiats here. They got a lot of Fiats here. I've been seeing them run. People
they fit
pushing
right
them around.
The streets.
They've been, we've seen a lot of people pushing them down the street. So
Nadav, while you're not making fun of Italians, I mean, how have you gotten to where you are right now? You've built a couple of companies.
There's a lot of businesses there, man.
And we want to focus on AI because I think that's the new realm, and everyone doesn't know how to use AI. It's a great, sexy thing. But how did you get to this point of getting into AI?
A few ways. So one, I'm lazy, and I don't like doing. No, I like doing work that I'm passionate about, and helping other people do work that they're passionate about. And so I've always been about that. One is just understanding what we're passionate about. So I had a spiritual phase, and that I am proud of. But
did that develop in Rome?
Yeah, exactly. It was in the chapels here. So I took a Buddhist course, and in that course,
he just pulled the e-brake on the Fiat. It fell apart.
In that course, we said passion is not something you have; it's who you are as a cosmic destiny, and it's not something you need to reach out and look for. It's something to discover about yourself. And that really resonated with me. And just for anyone listening, what that means is just think about what you love to do and do that, right? And no excuses, because people will say, well, once I have passive income and once isn't
that bullshit though?
Come
on, isn't that bullshit? Because I've Steve, I heard this from Steve Jobs and all this stuff, and not to even be like aggressive on this, but I am, because I'm being authentic, like Gino said, and I don't mean to be, but it's just the way us bees, man.
I love it. I love it.
So here's my.
Hold on a second. Do you see what I got to put up with? It's like every week he's always hammering me.
But he's gonna have a great response once I give him I'm about to volley to him, right? So I grew up in a small town and didn't have any exposure to business or whatever. And I love business. I really enjoyed being in business. I played sports, played football, baseball my whole life. And so the only thing I could figure out is when I got rejected they wouldn't let me be a cop because I had relatives that were cops. And I tried to take the test and they said I was like mentally insane. Right. So I got kicked out of that. Well, never even got let in. I was like, I guess I'm going to be a gym teacher and coach football. And I got into that, and then I got out, and they started doing like these. You go out in the field and you actually work with the kids, and the kids were wearing, like, back then it was like Marilyn Manson, and they were sitting on the bleachers saying, "I don't want to participate." So I was like, I got to get out of this. And then I went a step further when I got out of college and I started doing personal training, and it was just people that were like unmotivated, and I had to like force them to do the exercises. So I enjoyed athletics and sports, but I hated doing it for pay. And I found when I do things that I actually enjoy, that I want to spend my time doing, and I do them for pay, I start to despise them personally. And so I like to compete, I like to win, I like to make money, but I don't necessarily like to do it for the things that I sort of enjoy doing, in my own time. And that's where I've always struggled with this, because it sounds nice and it'll look good on Instagram, but it never connected with me personally. So maybe you can share why I'm wrong.
Well, Jake, I mean, you're fucked basically, but for everybody else, okay, for everybody else that's listening, it's about so one. I just want to say that like what I'm saying doesn't have to resonate with everyone, and I don't know all the answers, but what I can tell you is that um, it's about hitting that ratio of doing things that you love, and it doesn't have to be major things, right? And it's also choosing, because there may be things you're like, I don't want to do this for money. I want to just volunteer and do this, right? There may be things and you have to choose that, right? What a lot of people do is as this was the initial point, and I'll kind of continue to share about it, is they basically feel like they don't deserve to do what they love to do, or they can't, and that's a big part of societal conditioning. And you know what, in the past it may have been more true, but we're living in this incredible time where um, we really can choose what we want to do. And if you do what you love, great. If you're doing things you don't love to do, you're stealing it from someone else that loves to do it, basically, right? You're actually stealing that from someone who loves to do it. And there may be things you love to do, like, hey, I love business, but there's things that drain me and make me tired. And there's things that I don't want to do for money, or they make me uncomfortable. And so you really just
Gino
identify.
does a lot of things for money that makes him uncomfortable.
You see what I'm saying? Nadav, I got to jump in here for a second, because I'm gonna I'm gonna try to unpack it for Jake, because I think when we're talking about the money aspect of it, I've just become a certified money coach, right? And I've really trying to understand the relationship with people that they have with money, and the patterns that they've had from childhood, how it comes into the adulthood aspect of it. And I think what you're saying is people are just focusing on money and trying to make money, when that's really important, but there are other aspects. And you're talking about the creator artist persona or aspect, where you have to do things that really light you up. Like for me, instance, I like to sing opera. I'm never going to make money singing opera, but I love to do it. I like to shoot guns. So maybe I'll do some videos on shooting guns or whatever that is. And it's not only just the sole focus of trying to make money and monetize. And that's the grind, right? That's what I think we get caught up in is, and as far as for entrepreneurs, always trying to monetize, when it's, hey, Jake and I are doing this podcast. Are we going to get rich from doing this podcast? No, probably not. But we love to do it every week. We love to talk to the Nadavs of the world, who are just amazing, who have great stories, who we can learn from, who we can mastermind from. And to Jake's point, why he's wrong, he wouldn't be on this call if it was just about stuff that he wanted to focus on business, because he's really good at the podcasting of it. He's not going to get rich from it, but it brings joy and it brings some type of success and some type of gratification to his life. Does that make sense, Mr. Stenziano?
Well, Gino, I have two quotes for you to make both of your guys' cases, because you sucked. Neither of you nailed it, but I'll nail it for the two of you right now. So Steve Jobs, I've two billionaire quotes, all right? Steve Jobs said, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Okay, so we'll get that supporting. We already mentioned him. And Donald Trump said, work can make you happy, but you must do what you love. So I'm not a billionaire yet, so obviously I'm the one that's wrong, guys. I just wanted to give you some supporting, documentation there. I'm here to help you guys. I'll make your arguments for you if you can't, okay?
I'm in Italy. I should be drinking wine instead of water, because you guys are making it so easy.
Get you fired up. Maybe get a little espresso in there too. You know what I'm saying?
So now that we went off the tangent, how did you get into AI? That's the important thing. So you got it. You've sold the businesses. Obviously, you built it up. How did you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, so it was really about building that ratio of throughout the day, throughout all the waking hours of the day. I also am passionate about sleeping, so I got that part nailed. Can the majority of the time I do what I love doing, right? And so before AI, it was very much about using automation and also helping other people be in their zone of genius, essentially doing things I don't like to do that they love to do. And after I sold my companies, I became a executive coach, like not trained and certified by anyone besides life. And what I started realizing was that there's a cheat code or a shortcut to being satisfied, to fixing burnout, to the things that people want, which is more free time and more time with their family or whatever that might be. And that was systems implementation. And a lot of people just have views of systems implementation that are not helpful, essentially, which are, it's too hard, it's going to take me more time to do that than actually to do the task. All these things that go back to the not deserving. Being a money coach, you can understand people don't have money, they don't feel like they deserve it, mainly, right? Somewhere under there. And so it's like, I don't deserve to do what I love to do. And so I'm going to, literally, it'll look like, hey, this system or this AI can do that for you. And I will come up with some, defensiveness or reason that it can't or it won't work. And so a lot of the coaching was about having these choice makers allow systems to be implemented in their company and allow other people to be empowered to run those systems. And we have a saying that systems manage so people can lead. Now, it just happened to be right place, right time, because we were implementing those systems. We had a lot of customers, a lot of happy customers. And all of a sudden, OpenAI came out, and AI has been around for a long time, but there's these large language models.
How long?
Like 30, 40 years, like of just,
Really?
Yeah. And I'm not the expert in the history of that, but it was the large.
Well, I thought it was like 3 or 4. So that's news to me.
Yeah. Like effectively, right? I mean, there's a lot of technologies that have been around, but then they didn't become useful until they kind of got mixed with another one, which is large language models, right? So the large language model, which effectively is what makes AI, highly efficient, that started coming out, and you could start integrating automated AI into CRM systems, into project management systems, into different workflows. And it's like off to the races now. And so that's how I got into it. And I love doing it. And I'll say one more thing and shut up, because that's how these podcasts work. You're supposed to know when to stop talking, right? So my mission in life is creating enjoyment, freedom, and performance for people. And AI really helps fulfill on that mission.
But what do you like about AI? What do you love about your job? I know you love to sleep. I know you love to fight with Jake now, because that's apparent. What do you see? What do you love about AI?
By the way, I have a GPT set up to like just counter Jake's point. So like anytime he says something,
oh dude, it's not ready for me. It's not ready.
Yeah, it is like out though. It's like it's broken. I think you broke.
It's going.
What this is going to sound cliche, but I love helping people, and so AI helps with that in a major way. Like I like seeing entrepreneurs' time freed up. Literally, within 4 to 6 weeks, and we can talk about all the logistics of it. People start going, hey, I was spending 2 hours a day doing that, and I no longer have to spend 2 hours a day doing that. AI is doing it, and I spend 30 minutes checking the work, for example, right? And everybody can kind of understand that. So that's a big piece. And also, I love money, and AI, there's a lot of money in AI because it provides value for people. And if you're providing value for people, you can make money doing that. So those are the two main reasons. And I would say the third one is it's really exciting. It's really cool what it can do. It's very early right now still. Like you said, Gino, in the beginning, like, okay, yeah, it can do things, but what can it actually do? And how do you get it to work cohesively? So it's still very early. But it's exciting. I'm a tech geek. So
Nadav, let's get into the applications, because Jake is a meat and potatoes kind of guy. He doesn't like the fluff. He doesn't like to get to know people. He wants the solutions. Like, give me some solutions on AI. How are you using it right now? How can real estate investors use it? Let's go from the application of being an investor, right? Some automations of being an investor. And then also for us, because we're a little selfish ourselves, we're in property management. We want to understand how we can create an experience of AI through the resident and the property management company, asset management company. Can you give us a couple of examples?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And these are some that we've actually done. So um, we do AI and automation implementation for companies. Our goal is adding a day to 5 days a week per team member. So that's 20 to 100% increased efficiency. And I'll give you an example. I can't share the names, but I promise these are real. Just because we're under NDA and clients and stuff, we can build this for other people, but just out of respect for them. So we have a real estate company, and their focus is around buying property. Okay, and so what we did with them is we utilized AI to find and appraise off-market opportunities. And if you just a simple way to explain that is there's ways to find off market opportunities. There's liens. There's people that are getting old or have died. There's
What type of properties are we talking about?
so different types of properties. We're talking about residential. We're talking about commercial. We're talking about land, just straight up land. Um, the property is kind of a factor of it that's an input. Now AI you can put what's called auto prompting and automation to give AI the filters and essentially use AI agents to go out and query these properties. And it can happen through existing platforms, like Zillow. It can happen through Land Insights, Acres. Like there's all these different ways where you can have AI agents go in and operate and learn. They still need to learn, but they learn and start appraising properties and then bringing them into a pipeline for review. Okay. If you want to stop me and ask me questions about that, or I can just
No, keep going.
yeah, I just can
Keep
go
going.
through. So that's one aspect. Okay. So once that happens and the appraisal is approved, um, AI then personalizes follow-up workflows through WhatsApp, through emails, through phone calls, and through mailers. Okay. Now, every outreach really follow-up happens really without lifting a finger because you've trained the AI to create customized messaging. It can be like, hey, we noticed you have this lien. We want to help you out, or I'm very sorry for your loss of your father. And we understand that, you have this property and we're interested if you want, if you want to sell it. Right. And so this is a numbers game overall. You're going to have people who are like upset about it. You're going to have people who just ignore it, which is the majority of people, but you're going to start, getting these opportunities. Okay. Um, Now, then there's the data and the tracking part of it where every contact and property is synced with the messaging and it's organized. And so you understand like all the past conversations, um, all the attachments, whatever that is. And so in the contact management, and you don't have to, search for that anymore. Now, this is where it gets interesting because I mean, that part's interesting to me as well. Like I said, I'm, bit of a tech nerd, but um, you start having smart automations for property management. And so, for example, with this project, from offered acquisition to property management to selling the property, we built 46 AI or non AI automations across this board. And that's everything from um, the things that I just shared to um, managing the process of due diligence and the paperwork, um, automating the property management.
Now you're just getting cute though, because if you can just get a deal on the plate, the rest of that shit takes care of itself. Like that's all great, but if you can get, if you can bring the meat in, that's where the real value is. I mean, the other stuff is nice. Don't get me wrong.
But
If you
Jake,
can,
imagine the due diligence process where you don't have to do it yourself. You have everything worked out, and you can have team members access everything, and it's all documented, and it's like cookie cutter. Yes.
great, that's fantastic, and we take that all day, right? There's no doubt. But if you can actually bring in business That's huge. So tell us the results that you got from this. Just on how many deals did you bring through using this?
Yeah, no, this is for, for a customer. They saw a 300% increase in qualified deal flow. Okay.
So how many deals though did you guys pull in that they actually acquired using this?
They've had a few. I mean, they only do they're large deals. They're like $5 million plus deals, and so they've so far they've
Dude, you do a couple deals a year, you're doing good,
yeah,
right?
they've done
So
two
like
ex- two two
if yeah.
additional deals, and they're large deals. So yeah, yeah. I just want to finish just one aspect of like just to describe this. Yeah. So the no big deal part that I thought was cool, but Jake kind of like deflated my. He,
Well, no, but
he,
like
no, no, it's
we can
okay.
process
I'm
through that
kidding.
shit, and I'm sure there's high value. But like
No, my GPT is
if
like
you're
going
bringing
off
me
right
a
now.
deal,
It's gonna have a big comeback for you. What's
if
the
you're bringing me a
say?
deal though, that's as the customer, that's where I'm placing the value right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
right? So
of
yeah.
course, and it's AI enhanced business. It's AI enhanced team members. To Gino's point, it's to really to really get quality in it. And I think the beauty of AI is it's not just like, yeah, we don't need humans anymore. I mean, it may there may be aspects where it gets to that point, and I can talk a bit about it, but it's very much about being more in your zone of genius, having more fun, having more space to be strategic, having like the data at your fingertips so you can enjoy going through properties, you can enjoy tweaking the messaging and seeing if you get more response back. You can decrease the time it takes for due diligence and increase property flow. So those things. Now, the last aspect is AI predictive executive dashboards in real time. And so these were centralized in Monday.com. And it's this ability to view all the properties, acquisition stages, valuations, lead contacts, and task status in one place. And then AI will score it and say, hey, based on seller engagement, based on pricing. I mean, you need to give it input, right? It'll say focus on these 5 deals because they're what is most likely to close and be successful. So it's just really interesting in that regard, from my perspective. Now, kind of the last aspects I'll say, and do the shut up on the podcast thing, and give some more space to talk. There's a lot of opportunity for AI within operations. Okay, like in finance and HR, in operations and project management, in marketing, and so it's very much about being curious about those things, planning properly, taking things kind of one or a few steps at a time, and making sure it's working the way that you want it to. And really what's most important, because there's the human aspect of this, is training the team and making sure people are comfortable, or if they're uncomfortable, addressing that, knowing, hey, this is to benefit you. These are the things that you don't like to do that you no longer have to do. And these are your edges of trust where you kind of are afraid that if AI takes that over, you're not going to have a job and stuff like that. So you have to massage people's, ego and stuff like that. Yeah.
Jake found that interesting. He found that really funny. I
This
don't
is
know.
good for you for the next 6 months till you're on unemployment.
It's true. And also, what? It's
I know.
people that resist AI will likely, unless you're in an incredible financial position and you can kind of, whatever, it's like you're gonna lose your job. You're gonna be replaced because you're not embracing.
So
It's like not
so let's
using the
talk about
internet.
that for a second.
Yeah.
Do you think that so over, I don't know, the last 30, 40 years, the more things have went to the internet, the bigger companies have gotten corporations. I think it makes it harder for non-tech startups to get going. And I'm not saying they don't, and there's startups every day and everything, but do you think that established corporations, they'll embrace AI, obviously. Do you think the breakthrough for startups and whatnot will be even more challenging as AI is introduced, because the computers will constantly be solving everything, and it'll sort of become like this static work environment, and so to break through will be more challenging? Or do you think, they'll use AI to come up with more innovations and solutions? Like and again, this is just, just opinion, but what do you think the future looks like? Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, just speculating about it. I mean, I think the future, like one, I can just say it'll look like what people think it's going to look like individually, right? So
The
if I,
Terminator.
yeah, if I think, hey, you know what, I shouldn't do a startup because there's just too much competition now, which it's a reasonable thought. And AI, is this and that. Well, yeah, it's I'm not going to do it. It's not going to work for me. Not to say that if I embrace it, guarantees startup will work. But what I can tell you is there's I need to look at the statistics, and if somebody wants to, like, search it while I'm chatting or something. Um, there's this incredible increase in um, companies doing over 1 million ARR, annual recurring revenue, utilizing AI with like 5 people on the team, 10 people on the team, and so um, our team, like, we have about 8 core people and 20 devs, but we're just constantly utilizing AI and coming up with different ways, like, to just replace our jobs, like, all the time. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for anybody who wants to start a company to do it with AI and do it for less money. So either be successful or fail faster, and also stay really lean and mean. And if anything, you failed. Like, I'll give you an example. We're about to launch a new company, and for $20,000 in development, we can do what would have cost, well, stuff that we wouldn't have been able to even do before without AI, but it would be like $150,000 in dev, and we get to do
Hmm.
it for 20K. And so, or like, not that that's, I'm not saying it's a little bit of
Let it
money for
rip.
everyone.
See what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like me and my 3 buddies who are very smart and great entrepreneurs, and so we're each throwing in, like, 15K for like dev and other stuff, and just see what happens. And so that's, I think, the opportunity that people should take advantage of. And if you don't even need to spend that much, you can actually just build out AI agents and stuff like that. So yeah, something that I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Nadav, Jake and Gino obviously use AI incorrectly. How are people other than Jake and Gino using AI incorrectly?
How they're using it incorrectly.
Yes.
There's a few ways. So let me kind of explain the mindset behind it first, okay? So there is people who are embracing AI, and they're basically very curious. So that's like the first recommendation I have to use it correctly is be curious. The incorrect way is to be resistant to it, not believe in it. That doesn't mean just, hey, AI can do everything, but not believe in it, be resistant to it, and think it's harder and gonna take longer, right? Anything that's kind of resistant to it is how not to use AI.
Mm-hmm.
Being open and curious is fun. So having fun, that's one thing. The other way people are using it, that it's not wrong, it's just not the best way to do it, is they think, there's people that, like, don't have internet in different developing countries. So they think that the internet is Facebook, basically, because Facebook is free to put on a phone, right? And so people think, hey, so it's similar to that, where they think, hey, AI is ChatGPT, and when I can go in and say, what's wrong with my girlfriend? She's yelling at me. She's saying this. I don't know what to do. And then, they'll share all their personal details and kind of like reply back. Or people that are dating, they'll put information in and just send like a chat GPT message back that you can tell isn't that. So, but what I mean specifically is manual manual use of AI is above not using it, but it's really kind of like the bottom level of it because AI is so automatable. And so using it that way and having a incongruent um, methodology within an organization where people are using it, but they're not using it cohesively, that can start being having a negative impact because people are using it different ways. The data is disparate. They're not necessarily sharing accounts. And so it's not learning. Okay. So then the next, I'm going to start getting, and then the other thing is the other way I think is trying to do it all at once. That's also not a great way to do it. It's like, it's like the lean startup model. Or in real estate, you're not going to necessarily start with a skyscraper in New York. You're going to do a single family home or a duplex unit or whatever it is when you're starting out. So I think you have to do it all at once. Now, the right way to do it is getting somebody that knows what they're doing, could be in-house, can be, a company like ours, and building out a strategy, building out a vision, having everybody engaged in that vision. Hey, here's my pain points. Here's things I'm dealing with. This is what I think would be great. Gathering all that, creating a vision, and then creating a plan and going, let's implement this first. Let's start with the CRM, or let's identify properties, or let's get organized in the way we do due diligence, see those wins. And so you can start integrating your knowledge base, let's say using, Microsoft or Gmail or whatever it is, Google Workspace, connecting that to OpenAI and starting to, let it in and build those things. So that's the way I think people are not using it correctly.
And last question before we go to the short answers. You've got a company like Jake and Gino. We have a property management company. How could you help a property management company out with AI? Because we're struggling, let's say we're struggling getting leases in, we're struggling with our customer experience, we're struggling with our renting of our units, we're struggling with the turns of the units. How do you see AI helping a company like
Yeah,
ours out?
absolutely. So, you just shared like 4 or 5 pain points that you have and a lot of people have. Let me explain the strategy overall, that can be for your company or any company, and anyone can do this. Okay. One is exactly what you're saying, which is what are the pain points? What's the challenges, right? What are people struggling with? What are you spending time on? So that's one thing. Just we have an align, automate, achieve. That's our methodology. So aligning on that, understanding that, looking at the KPIs and going, where are things not working? Where are the drop offs? Where do we want to see that improve? And what's the priorities? So identifying the priorities. The next part is what is the current tech stack being used? Okay, so are we using there's lots of different real estate softwares and management softwares. I used to have 100 apartments, so we were using something. I've also had hotels and things like that I've owned. So looking at that and going, how is that being used currently? Right? Like, is there adoption? Are people saying they're using it, but they're really in Excel? Is there no tech stack? And so understanding that and then going, where are the opportunities within that tech stack? Right. So the average use of existing software and technologies by companies is 12% of the capabilities of those softwares. So yeah, so forget AI even right now. I'm talking about a project management system, a CRM, a property management system. Why does that happen? Because people will purchase the software and ignore, the instructions to put it together. It's not like furniture that you need to put the instructions together to sit on it and use it. No, I got this, or let's not spend money on that. Let's not, spend money on the implementation. Let's do it later, stuff like that. And so identifying, hey, let's say we're using the software, but we're kind of working for it. And so, what are the advanced features that are available within the current tech stack or additional tech stack that maybe we want to add and building in those? And that's the beauty of where we are right now. There's low code, no code automation. And I'm talking about being able to automate a task or workflow. Let's say like lease creation and follow up. Okay. Let's say lease creation and follow up is one example that you mentioned. So I'm not just speaking, kind of generally. Um, Creating a GPT that will build out the lease based on whatever information needs to be there, risk factors, like whatever it is, and then a AI or follow up sequence that just follows up until that person completes the lease, and then it gets filed. Okay, I'm just throwing out one example, and likely the software being used, even if it's like DocuSign or something, can be configured in a way with ChatGPT, OpenAI, to perform that. Let's say you don't have a tech stack at all. You're just using a signature of system. You can integrate like Make.com or Zapier with ChatGPT to do that. And so identifying those and just starting to go, what budget do I want to spend on this? How much money is it going to save me? How much will it add? And then what do let's get a win. Let's tackle a couple things. And so if you want to, just repeat some of the things that you said, I can actually give some more specific examples. But what I wanted to share to everyone listening is that that's the initial strategy. The what is usually the easiest part. Like, do this specifically. That's usually the easiest part. The most challenging part is deciding to do it, coming up with the strategy, and actually executing on it, mainly because people's mindset and lack of understanding. So if you want to throw out some of the pain points again, I can kind of address some of those. So
Yeah,
Jake, you have any pain points?
we'll hit it after the break, guys. Let's take a quick time out here from our sponsor.
This episode of the Jake and Gino podcast is brought to you by Wheelbarrow Profits, the premier multifamily education community. Wheelbarrow Profits proof is in their results. Their members have closed over 86,000 units. That's over $5 billion in student deal volume. Are you serious about taking your real estate game to the next level? Do you have the confidence to take action? Schedule a call with the Wheelbarrow Profits team today and supercharge your real estate knowledge. Build lasting relationships through unparalleled networking opportunities. Obtain lasting knowledge on how to buy multifamily real estate with intensive training. Gain hands-on experience through their live events with like-minded individuals and industry professionals, all while experiencing the personal touch and family atmosphere that set them apart. Visit wheelbarrowprofits.com for more information.
All right, we are back. We're gonna dive into this a little bit. I've been holding this one back here. Got it right here, Gino. I'm gonna dive into this one. So my theory on this. So we use Appfolio property management software currently, and they have some AI. They also allow some integrations and whatnot. And so we've looked at potentially building out our own customer journey because we feel that Appfolios is lacking. Just for one example, right? The thing that we're trying to reconcile with is, does Appfolio get there in the next 2 to 3 years with AI for the solutions that they're not, meeting our, demands or our expectations? Or do we go outside and then create something that doesn't integrate? Because that's sort of the challenge right now in the property management space. Is they'll allow a few integrations. There's some AI that they're using and whatnot. And the thing that really we're trying to get our heads wrapped around is, do we wait for them to do it, find something else to bolt on that integrates, you're saying, with a tech stack? Because if you go and you start, because we've gotten quotes from companies before to build this stuff out for us, but then we're sort of outside the program, and that's where guys like Gino and myself get crossed up, because it's, do you go out and build the shit yourself and then have something that's outside the box, or do you wait for everything to work together? And that's where it gets a little
yeah,
confusing.
yeah, no, it totally makes sense, and that kind of often is what creates paralysis, basically, right? And it's normal. For Appfolio or any software. So one,
Sure.
have you had a like AI development company look at your
Yes.
workflows and
Yeah,
what
and
did they
the
say
and the
with
other the
Appfolio?
other the other challenge that comes in is, and so we'll, we've been looking at different things for accounting, and bill coding and stuff. And then the challenge comes in is the cost versus using a virtual assistant too. So I think those are the two challenges from, us as consumers. The challenges that we see is the cost versus VAs, which obviously I understand the benefit of, having the machine do it. There's obvious benefits there, but when recurring costs exceed, what you can get something for, a slight improvement in terms of accuracy may not be worth it. And then it's something that's not, operating within, your current software. So that's, just to like those are
Yeah.
the obstacles that we've hit so far.
Yeah, I think look, if I was gonna make a recommendation, you know, without diving too deep into your current setup, my rec would be, building out an Appfolio or something similar versus doing something custom. Because the benefits normally out like Appfolio, like you said, right? So Appfolio or these different companies, they're investing between hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars a year in their development systems. You're never like, wow, I'm just so over the moon on the software company that have absolutely everything I need. That normally doesn't happen, even with multi-billion-dollar companies. But you can, um, build that out. And I can see here, like Appfolio has Realm X Assistant, which generates reports, marketing vendor interactions, drafts personalized communications. Now they're likely have a integration of OpenAI, right? Which is one of the LLMs to do that. Now, I'll give you an example quickly of some of the things that I use. They have a smart inbox, which quickly sorts, responds to, and acts on resident communication. So it'll respond, and it says it's 26 seconds faster than manually composed ones, right? So it can just draft those, for example. It has flows, which are um, it speeds up key processes like lease renewals, applications, rent collection, maintenance, move in, move out inspections by following preset AI executed sequences. And it's delivered a 73% higher lead to showing conversion rate for users. And so just on the surface level, and I'm happy to have my AI, devs go in and do this, like Appfolio, they just launched in June 2025, Realm X Performer. So um, a leasing performer, a maintenance performer. So diagnosing and prioritizing maintenance. So Appfolio's, these companies want to be at the forefront of AI. Overall, everybody has the same technology. So if you went out and build it custom, the technology you would be building likely is not going to be better than Appfolio's, right? And you're going to kind of get to a point where you're going, we have to keep feeding this, animal. And so my recommendation would be to like understand everything that's possible in Appfolio and then go, great, let's do this thing. Let's roll that out. The other thing that's really cool is the majority of AI dev within these softwares, it's like 6 to 15 hours of dev to automate a workflow. It's really, really fast. And because it's low code, no code, if there's a fuck up, you can just change it, right? You didn't like say I just put 50 grand or 100 grand into this. And so I think with that folio is kind of just, hey, let's do a few of these. Let's see how it works. Nothing's guaranteed in business that like you do it and it's going to work, but it seems to me like they're investing in that and actually some quite interesting features and integrations. And I'll go ahead and send you, like, I just pulled a report from ChatGPT to just kind of understand. um, yeah, and I'm happy to share with you some of my favorite stuff that we're doing if you want. So
Sure. Love
yeah,
to hear it.
yeah. So okay, so there's a few things that are fun and exciting. So one of them is that we have um Fireflies, like meeting assistant. Okay, everybody has a meeting assistant, But with the meeting assistant, you get it. It shows the information somewhere. You have to go and you can kind of see it. Maybe you have an assistant to your meeting assistant that goes in and looks at the notes and hopefully does something with it. But by then you move to the next thing. So what we've done that anyone can do, just it's really fun and exciting for me, like as a CEO and salesperson, is um, the AI meeting assistant is in the meeting. What it then does is it automates creating a draft in my email draft box that follows the template that we send out after sales calls. So say, the intro, here's your goals, here's the exciting opportunities within AI and automation, here are the next steps. Now, instead of 20 or 30 minutes of kind of manual going, even with the assistant, it's just there. It takes me like 3 to 5 minutes. And you know what? I really enjoy it because I enjoy the excitement and the opportunity of helping this person, okay, and getting business and making money doing it. So that's one thing. The other thing that it does is it takes their pain points and what was discussed in the call and puts it into a proposal production workflow that we have, and it actually goes and creates the proposal for them. And again, then it's looked at by an AI dev. However, all of that, like this whole sales process would take us 12 to 15 hours. And now it's taking us 3 to 5 per prospect, including meetings. It's really exciting. Now, for me with client success, which, anyone who's listening, think about the customer side of your business. I spend 1 hour a week on client success, meeting with my client success team. The rest I'm reviewing and reporting. I'm getting a summary of every customer success call that I spend. I look at every call, spend 2 to 3 minutes looking at with a sentiment analysis, as well as some other things, and then also see it in dashboard. I can tell you personally, all of that is just with the meeting recording system. And project management, which is like property management as well, that we're just like I told my project manager, I said, we're replacing what you guys do. It's your job to replace yourselves, and I promise there'll be more to do. I basically have about 25 hours a week of free time in my work week. I don't want to sit around. I've done that before in my life. I love doing the work. I love doing new things and coming up with new things and working on that. But just to give you an example, to just bring it back to what I was sharing, is that just that one functionality of an AI meeting recorder has so much application that's impactful for me personally. I'm doing this from a selfish place. And that's what I think it boils down to, is if you can find some of the things that you're like, God, I would just love not to have to do this anymore, so I could do that. And all that dev was like that I just described, it was like 20 hours of development to do. So
What's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
well, I'm in Rome, so if you're in the neighborhood of Central Rome, just go have a glass of wine. They can email me at n@aligncoach.ai. They can follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm very active with just a lot of value AI tips at Nadav Wilf. So on LinkedIn, it's Nadav Wilf, NADAVWILF. Same with on Instagram. And yeah, I'd love to anybody that wants to, and they can go to aligncoach.ai and actually just schedule a meeting as well. But I'm really happy to communicate with anybody around that, obviously.
All right, Gino.
Jake, while Nadav is not making fun of Italians or arguing with you about finding passion in your workplace, in your job, he's out there creating, I think, chatbots. I don't even know what the heck that is. He's creating chatbots,
GPTs, whatever that is.
He's embracing AI, and I think there's a couple things I took away from the show that's may seem basic and may seem elementary, but we need to remind ourselves. When we have resistance upon something, and this is what Stephen Pressfield talks about, the word resistance, the war of art, just check yourself. That means that's something that you have to go towards. If you're feeling resistant towards AI, there's a reason why. It's something that we all need to adopt. And I don't want to say the word embrace, but it's here. Just like the internet was, just like the car and the airplane and all these different technologies. If we don't have curiosity about it, it's going to be something fearful. It's something that we're going to want to control. And ultimately, we can't control anything. So the curiosity actually opens our minds up to seeing the possibilities of what's around. And I wrote down a quote that he said, he wrote over here. I'm trying to find it here. Hold on a second. I can't find it. Systems. It's something that
people can lead.
Yeah, systems managed, people can lead. I love that, and I think it's important. And if you're out there, you're struggling with AI, go to aligncoach.ai, start learning a little bit more about what Nadav does and how he can help you. And don't be like Jake and Gino when it comes to AI and saying to yourselves, we're sitting on the sidelines, we're tinkering with it, but we're just scratching the surface of what AI can do for you.
Well said, Gino. Gang, as always, we believe in buying deals for the long term. Think in decades. I'm Jake. He is the G Daddy. We make it happen. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Nadav.
Thank you too.